No accident is accidental. Once upon a time, I was working at this job and I liked it. It was okay. I was about to be promoted. And one specific particular day, I was exhausted. I was exhausted mentally, I was exhausted physically. Um, I knew that I had not been taking care of myself or taking care of my mind. I had not been meditating. I had not been thinking positively. I had been thinking negatively for many weeks, okay? Getting myself into depression. I also was on and off of these antidepressants that just didn't work and I had no business taking them, but I took them to feel some relief. So, and I never actually took them for a duration of time. So I was dizzy. I was experiencing side effects of this medication and also my depression and just everything combined, right? So one day I'm getting ready for work and I'm thinking, I don't want to go today. I don't want to go today. I'm not going. I'm not going. And I kept thinking that and even saying that while I was getting ready, okay? And so I'm like, I'm not going. I'm not going. And I'm putting on my clothes and I'm grabbing my keys and I'm like, I'm not going. And I turn on my car, and I remember this so clearly. I'm exiting out of my driveway, and I'm thinking to myself of this one quote that is if you're so smart, why aren't you happy? You know that quote? So I'm thinking of that quote, and I'm yeah, why aren't I happy? I'm not happy, you know what I mean? And I'm just not doing anything about it, and I don't want to do anything about it, and I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do anything. Just so much negativity, right? So just hopeless case in that moment. So I'm driving, and I wasn't even about to be late or anything. I was just all ready to go. But I kept thinking to myself, I'm not going today. Nothing is going to make me go today. As I'm driving, I stop at the stop sign, okay, to make my usual turn. I look around, you check for cars, whatever. There's nobody there. So I turn, and the next thing you know, everything is shaking, okay? I heard a loud boom and my whole body shook, you know what I mean? And my vision was I don't even remember seeing anything. I didn't see anything. And so once everything had stopped, I remember thinking I'm going to die. I remember thinking that I'm gonna die right now. And then everything stopped. I remember screaming too, I think. And everything stopped. And just that feeling, it's just so much adrenaline, I opened my eyes. I think my eyes were closed. I don't even remember seeing anything. It's I blacked out. And everything is everywhere. Of course, the car is totaled. You know what I mean? And I realized that I had just been in a crash. It took me some time to process what had happened. I didn't know if I was okay. I didn't know anything for a while. And then I'm starting to cry and freak out and just really, really panic attack, and then someone's banging on the window are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And there's a group of everybody, there's a group of people surrounding my car, people from their houses came outside surrounding me. And I look around. I'm okay, do I have all my body part? Am I good? Whatever. I've never told this story before, ever, because yeah. And I was fine. I wasn't fine in that moment, but eventually I was fine, right? But I had never been in that kind of situation. And the whole the next few days I don't really remember that well because I wasn't well, I was okay physically, but at the same time I hit my head, my back, my neck, whatever. So obviously I call work and I didn't go in that day, you know what I mean? So later on down the line, I had a lot of time to think about what had happened and process it, right, in the months to come. And I realized that, like, it was because I was so negative for so long. There was so much momentum that had already built up, such that I literally attracted me not being able to go somewhere. I had repeated that sentence also that same day. But not just that, I had not been feeling happy for a very long time. I was tired of working. It was a lot of strain on me physically and mentally. Like, all these things, you know? And one thing about me that I also don't like to share with anybody, is that, you know, I also go through issues just like other people do, right? So like mental health issues is there sometimes, like physical health, like, you know, I go through phases, and it's not always easy to keep up with my health because sometimes my mental health gets in the way of me taking care of my physical health. That's why I'm such an avid exerciser and runner, and, you know, I've been course correcting this for a very long time. It's my mission to, you know, be well and to help others be well as well. But during that time, I was completely off track. Like, I wasn't at all taking care of myself or my body or my mind. I felt unfulfilled, all these things, you know. And so I literally manifested this situation to happen. Now, what I had crashed into was not like another person or like another car, thank God. So you may ask, so how does that even happen? Like, how do you lose control? And to this day, like, I do believe that it was because I was very dizzy, but yeah, so really, really horrible thing that happened, but not really, because nothing is horrible, because nothing is an accident. No accident is an accident. I attracted that situation with my negative thinking that had been building up for months, okay? I was not taking care of my vibrational state of being. I was not happy. I was not happy. I was not able to be myself. I didn't want to go, so I attracted a situation whereby I literally could not go, okay? Like, do you understand how important it is to care about how you feel? I'm telling you this story because I really, really learned from this. And I've been through situations in my life just like this that I have never told stories about, wherein I've had to learn situations about vibrational maintenance the hard way. And so, you know, it was a wake-up call for me that, hey, like, what have you been thinking about? You literally caused this to happen. You know, if you had just been more relaxed about things, you know, it wouldn't have to have led up to this happening. You may not have had to take antidepressants. You may not have had to be dizzy. You may not have had to say, oh, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to work. So much negativity I had. So the reason why I'm telling you this story is because I want you to know what I had to learn was that we are always responsible for everything that happens in our lives. I know that that sounds like a far reach. I know that sounds uncomfortable. I know that sounds like something you don't want to hear. But fortunately or unfortunately, right, in whichever case you take it, the law of attraction is always attracting. It's always working. It is a universal law. It is extremely simple to understand. It is Newton's third law of motion. Okay? And, you know, whatever you put out will come back. Every action has an equal, and opposing reaction. Not opposing in counter vibration, but opposing in the direction of the vibration. So you kick a wall, it kicks you back. You know what I mean? So that's what I was doing mentally for a very long time. So, you know, it did hit me quite hard, the experience. It made me off center for a while. And I was thinking to myself, why would, like, to God, like, why would you let this happen? You know what I mean? Like, how dare you, almost, you know? Like, how could you let this happen? Like, I never get into these kinds of situations. Like, this was not supposed to happen. It was a mistake. Like, I loved that car, you know? It was a car that I had previously. I loved that car. Like, did I love that car? I didn't actually love that car because I had taken that car in for maintenance, like, literally every few months because I was neurotic about it. And it was an electric car, and I really wanted the suspension to be good. I wanted to make sure the wheels were aligned. I was constantly taking it in to the BMW repair center for them to like look at it, examine it, like see if it's good, you know. I was neurotic about that car. And like, you know, so my vibration was not giving a vibration of gratitude. It was not eliciting a vibration of peace or calmness. I was not grateful for the car. I was not grateful for the job. Okay. I was not grateful for things that one could be grateful for. And so it was taken from me, the car, the job, all these things. And that was a hard pill for me to swallow. I had to learn that, oh my gosh, okay, literally, like, I'm extremely powerful and I'm working against myself, you know? And, of course, then I manifested like a new car and like a new job, etc. But it was a huge learning experience for me because I had to realize the power of the mind and the power of our words. I could have asked for help. I could have said, hey, I'm really like tired. Like, I want to maybe, you know, see if I can rearrange something. Like, I could have asked for help. With the car, I could have been like, hey, you know, this is the last time I'm taking it in for repair. Like, just let me know, it'll be good. I'm gonna like decide not to like keep coming back. You know what I mean? So when we accept our situation, things become much easier for us because we are living in a state of gratitude. But when we're resisting things, okay, which everything is a good thing. So when we're resisting good things, which is everything, because life is a good thing, then we attract opposing forces that will actually challenge our mental state and force us to think more gratitude, force us to be more grateful. That's what happened with me, you know. So I had to learn really, really severely that our thoughts and our words, the things that we think, you know, they travel and they actually manifest in different circumstances in our life. When I am imbalanced in any way, right, I'll notice that people come up and talk to me and bother me. Comments and things bother me. Like, just things in my reality, it feels like I'm being attacked because I am attacking myself. Okay? So when we decide to feel good and when we decide to be above our emotional state, then we can get a handle on our vibration, and then we get a handle on simultaneously everything else around us. That's the importance of managing the vibrational state. The vibrational state is our focal point of all creation. Okay? I've had so many instances like this. I've had interactions with people wherein I would start to think about them not liking me. I'm like, oh, like they hate me or something, right? And then it turns out that they actually are starting to not like me. You know, and I was like, oh, like, hey, like, you know, we just don't get along. But in reality, everything is our fault. When we take accountability for how we feel and for the things that are then happening in our lives as a result of how we feel, we sit right back in the driver's seat, no pun intended, of our reality. If I were to think, oh, like they like me, let me also be more of a help to them and let me like them back, you know what I mean? Then maybe the social dynamic would have been different. You know, so we are in control. We're so in control that we're lucky. We're lucky, and we're lucky to understand that we're in control, and we're lucky to take that control and take it to the highest of frequencies possible, which is love, authenticity, helpfulness, resourcefulness, sharing, giving, expanding, creating, right? That's what high energy is. That's what high frequency is. And that attracts wealth, by the way, because wealth is all of these things. Yeah, that's why when you're healthy, when your vibrational state is high and your body is healthy, you produce electricity at a very high rate, at a very fast rate, and so your manifestation ability of good things becomes very easy. And that's actually how I got, you know, this car. I was like, you know, one day I was so depressed actually for a while about what had happened that I was not letting in my new car, you know what I mean? And then when I just realized the lesson and practiced the lesson, practice what I had learned about, okay, like, I'm in control of everything that's happening in my reality. I caused the accident. I did it. God didn't do it. Nobody around me did it. I did it to myself. And when I started living in this way and actively using my own power for myself instead of against myself, that's when good things started coming into my life, friends and people, and like my life kind of turned. I got a new job, I got a new car, whatever. I was able to travel. Like, I've manifested like flights and stuff like that in the past few months, and I'm not like super big on traveling. Like, I'm not, but I've been traveling, and this is something that I've manifested. So because of my joy, guys, not because of I'm gonna sit and think about it and make a vision board and like that's fine, but you gotta get happy. You gotta, whatever it takes, make a vision board, make this board, like whatever it takes to get happy and excited about things, to get inspired about life. I'll give you another anecdote. There was a period of time where I was so depressed. Okay, towards the end of 2024. Okay, I've been through it in life, I just don't share about it that much. Maybe I should more. I was so depressed towards the end of 2024. And because I took a loss in some way. And I was blaming people outside of me. I was blaming, like, okay, like, they caused this loss to happen, like, it's their fault, And as much as I had believed that, I stayed in my depression. But when I realized that nobody is at fault, people just make decisions and life goes on. And actually this loss opened up a new space in my life, which I talked about in a previous video. Then I realized that, okay, it wasn't a loss, it was a gain, And I forgave that person, I worked on that. And I've never been in a situation in my life where forgiveness was difficult for me, ever, until that instance. Like, usually, because I've been through enough life to have forgive people. So, like, people I was around, ex-friends, this, that, whatever, like, I've had to forgive people for, like, things that may even have seemed unforgivable to me at one point. But this thing, I could not stomach it. I could not get over it. It was a shock to my system. It felt like I was dying, because, when you lose something that you love, or somebody that you love, it's just, it takes your life, So, that was something that I had never experienced, this challenge of, like, having to forgive literally the unforgivable. So I had to work on it. I had to work on, okay, this was someone's action and I accept it and I forgive them. And it is also my fault that this happened. Not fault, but I attracted this situation of loss because I could have done more. So I'm going to also forgive myself, So a lot of work had to be done. And I realized that it is possible to forgive anybody from anything, by the way, because it's God's grace that we are operating under. So literally, we have no pretense to judge another person for their actions, nor do we have the pretense to judge our own karma, because God solidifies everything and he gives his stamp of approval upon anything, including car accidents, including losses. He approves it. It will happen. Maybe we need to learn something from it. This is how humble you should be. And this is what I learned as well. So I was very depressed, right? And so I got to a point where I was so depressed at some point in time that I couldn't act on anything, okay? There was no ability in me to take action on anything. So even just me, like, getting out of the house was like an accomplishment, I was slow to finish my work. I was slow to do anything and everything because I was extremely in pain. So in my state of non-action, I came to so many realizations, one of them being action is the most important thing that we can do in life. You must take action on your immediate thoughts of ideas that, could improve your life. You must take action on contributing to the public sphere in some way. You must take action within your business. You must take action to text or call that person that you know would be a positive force in your life, and to swallow your ego and to be like, hey, can we be friends? Hey, want to be friends? Hey, let's connect, whatever. Like, that is also action that I learned that we must do. I had to learn how to take action to respond to text messages too. You know, all these things are important. They're important, you know? Like, I used to be somebody in my depression, and even before that phase, I was somebody who would take so long to respond to messages. I would, you know, not respond to people because they were not in my life anymore and whatever. Like, my ego would overpower my ability to live and be a human being, you know? And so actually that period of depression was a blessing to me, because it made me understand that I have to work on so many things within myself. I have to, you know, share my story, and I have to talk about what I've been through, and I have to be open to people, more inviting to people, less reclusive, less introverted, less in my ego and pain, less in my like stagnancy and literally non-existence. Like, I did not want to exist, and so I was not existing, you know? Nothing was appealing to me. Nothing was interesting to me. I didn't want to do anything. That's how bad it got. And it had never gotten that bad for me in my life. Like, even in previous instances where I had experienced depression, I still tried to maintain some sort of active like lifestyle, and like at least put on a front of like, I'm fine, whatever. But this time I couldn't. I literally have videos of myself sitting in front of the camera like I am right now, crying and yelling and like wailing and like talking about this situation, and just to get it out, you know, and not being able to share my story, not being able to post it, obviously, not being able to talk about it, and just being in a lot of pain, even though I wanted so desperately to like explain my situation. I even went to therapy, and the therapist was like shocked at like how bad it was, you know, my situation and like what happened. And that didn't help me. Like, I was like, okay, like you're supposed to help me. Like, you're supposed to tell me something that can help me. Like, don't tell me that my situation, don't validate me, you know? So yeah, I really made myself alone, you know? I was quite alone in that, because I made myself alone in that situation. In reality, I actually also could have like literally reached out to everybody that I knew in my phone contacts, which is full. I cannot add another contact to like my primary phone, you know, like it's full. So I had like an abundance of resources and people to talk to be like, hey, like I'm actually like struggling and like kind of want to end my life. I'm in this situation. Like, can you like just like talk to me? You know what I mean? But I don't think ever done that before. And that's not like a normal thing to do, you know? So instead I tried going to therapy. I was prescribed like Zoloft, like all these things. And I've been prescribed like everything under the sun, that I've taken like none of it. You know what I mean? Because like, I just, I don't know, there's like a blockage there or whatever, but I just don't need it at this point. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. Personal preference, but I just have not taken any of it. But, you know, so, but none of it was like effective for me. You know, what was effective for me was time, number one. Number two, analyzing myself in the situation. Number three, even filming YouTube videos of me venting and like not uploading them. Number four, working on my business, creating more sales funnels, talking with clients. I would have one-on-one meetings with clients, and I would be able to help them through their situation while I was dying. But it gave me fulfillment, and it gave me self-belief in that I can help someone else. So my life is not like done, you know, like my life is not over, you know? So yeah, that was my situation towards the end of 2024. I also lost like all of my files on one of my devices, and that was kind of like the cherry on top, you know? It had like all the memories of what I had lost, and it was all gone. Those pictures and videos were all gone, so all those memories were gone. So it's like, okay, this is a really good thing and a really bad thing, or it's either one. I can't like figure it out yet, but I have nothing to do but like literally laugh at like life and my situation and what I've attracted. Like, I've attracted L's on top of L's on top of L's. It also taught me that you don't have to wait for things in your life to be perfect before you can be happy, because life already literally is perfect right now. It's just that you don't see the perfection within it. And I don't know about you, but I'm such a perfectionist. Like, I'm such a, I really want things to be perfect, and my way of thinking is like very stubborn. So maybe these things had to happen for me to actually let the good in my life and be more open to experiences, take action instead of inaction, stop giving so much power to depression, being more open with people. I had to learn how to forgive something that was seemingly unforgivable, all these things. So that's my story of how I allowed my negative vibration to fester and create calamity in my life, and what I learned from it. I learned that a high vibration is the healthiest thing we can do for ourselves, for the people around us, for the world, and for our bank account, for everything, you know? And there's so many things in life that we can like find faults with, so many things we can disagree with. It's easy to be negative. It's easy. It doesn't require any effort, to give into depression or negativity. It's easy to stay down. What is difficult and challenging, and therefore more valuable, is to rise above your vibrational state, right? To understand that you are the everlasting soul that is not determined by their current circumstances. You create your circumstances, including car accidents, including losses, whatever. And understand that you are always in the driver's seat, and then you operate with that power, right? So you go out into the world and you give to people, you help people, you reach out to people, you text people back, you are active, you are a participant in your life. And for so long, I was not a participant in my life. I was living my life as if it was someone else's, really, and I was just as disconnected as possible from everything, because I was bored and unsatisfied and unhappy. And instead of going to work with a positive attitude, that I was going to be around people that I actually really loved. Like, I've always loved everybody that I've met and like worked with. Instead of reveling in that love, I chose to be unhappy, and I chose to be tired, and I chose depression. Like, I literally chose it, and I made it my reality. And it manifested as calamity, as loss, as accidents, whatever. And so, you never know how your thoughts will manifest. And this is not to scare you. The story is not to scare you or warn you, but it's rather to give attention to how powerful you are. Very powerful. Very powerful. You have so much love within you that you're made of love. Like, creation is made of love, like the highest frequency there is of creation, which is love. So, all these things have taught me that we must be that. We must stay there in our authenticity of love. We must be love, and we must go out into the world and be love to people. And trust me, guys, like, I have had to learn these things the hard way, like I said, right? And, I've definitely like not lived in love for a very long time. I've had friends that turned on me, and I was like, okay, like, screw them, you know what I mean? And like, I've lived in my ego. And I'm here to tell you that that's not ever helpful, productive, conducive. That's not the way to do it. Your ego will drill you into a hole of silence. It'll make you inactive in your life if you allow for it to take over your whole being. And you can actually get possessed by depression. You can actually get possessed by the spirit of depression, the spirit of anxiety, the spirit of PTSD, all these things. And so the way to not do that is to have a very strong personal core that you know that you are, which is pure love, and to move with God, and to understand that you are housing God all the time. So why are you not treating the temple with respect, with love, with purity, with acceptance, with joy? Not having joy is a sin. Really, it is. Because you're going against your primary reason for incarnating, which is to create, to expand. Obviously, yes, to learn lessons, but let's not spend forever learning the lessons. Like, the faster that we can learn our lessons, right, the easier and the quicker that we can manifest what we actually want for ourselves and for the world. We are visionaries, guys. We are creatives. We are, friends, actually. Like, human beings are friends with one another. It's just that we've been conditioned to thinking that we have to compare ourselves to other people, or that we have to hate somebody because they did something to us. Nobody did anything to you ever. Take it from me. Everything is attracted to us by us. The outer world just mirrors what we have going on. And I had a lot of time to realize this, you know. So the next time you think somebody's doing something to you, just understand that you are disempowering yourself. You're putting yourself in a space of disempowerment willingly. Nobody's doing it to you. You are willingly raising your hand and saying, I'm a victim. And so you stay a victim. The universe says, okay, you're a victim, because the law of attraction, the primary law of all that attracts itself to itself, the primary law of the universe says, okay, your wish is my command. And that's how everything works. That's why whatever you focus on grows. Steve Jobs created the iPhone because he was focused. You know, it's not that people come in from different planets and bring us new technology and like everyone has a different reality based on what they're focusing on. This is why the mind, the intelligence, and the capacity and the capability of the intelligence is untapped. It's unlimited. Because there's no limit to what you can create. Because there's no limit to what you can learn mentally. Depending on your focus ability, depending on what you actually want to create, depending on what you study. If you self-study, great. If you study technology, great. And if you can put it all together, you become Steve Jobs. You know what I mean? So a lot of people are unfocused. Focus is the number one commodity of this planet, because it actually can take energy from you, right? Or give you energy, life force energy, depending on your focus. That's why anything that tries to steal your focus and attention is very costly. There's a high price to focus. So don't let anything steal your focus, and be around people that realign you and align you within your primary focus. This is extremely important, because you know, if association is everything, and if you let your focus go from you, depending on your environment, people, circumstance, right? All these things, you can be done for. All that intelligence that you have, everything you've built within yourself, your empire, whatever, can just go to shit. So, you know, with me and what happened with the accident, I wasn't focused. I wasn't focused on my joy. I wasn't focused on living in the present moment. I wasn't focused on all the blessings that surrounded me. I wasn't focused in gratitude. I was unfocused. And I needed that experience to teach me a lesson that is going to stay with me for the rest of my life. And it was only when I stopped being depressed about it and stopped feeling PTSD from it and all these things, and I got above my mind and I practiced getting above my mind through meditation, that I realized, hey, it was a good thing that happened with me. It was a good thing that I got into that situation, because now I know better. Now I know how it happened, why it happened, how I was involved in the happening of it, how my vibration was all screwy for months beforehand. And, you know, me taking the car to maintenance for like 2 years probably didn't help either. You know what I mean? So everything is connected. So take this story and remember it, because it can help you in what you have to do, right now, maybe, to alter your vibration, to temper your vibrational state, to feel good now. Focus on things that feel good now. And whatever it is,